You're listening to the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Wrestling Nerdcast on the Angry Marks Podcast Network with your host, Will Huckabee and Mika Villas.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Once again, it's Tuesday night. You know, I'm not necessarily at Huckabee Estates, but it's still time for the Wrestling Nerdcast. And as usual, I am your host, the AIWF World Heavyweight Champ, the World Wrestling Grand Prix Champ, the Five-Star Pro Wrestling Zone 1 Platinum Champ, the West Virginia Championship Wrestling Heritage Champ. And as of yesterday, if you have been in the cave, you didn't know this, you didn't follow me on social media, I am a national celebrity, reality star, I guess you could call myself. The Incredible Huck, Will Huckabee. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, national treasure right here. And speaking of treasures, somebody who is not a treasure, but she's all right. My co-host, the lover of waffles, the voice of the speech impediment. She is the ambassador of affection. She is one half of the world's cutest commentary team. You can catch her on not only this podcast, but a couple other podcasts, which are not as good as this one, but you know, they're pretty alright. She is the voice of Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment and Lucha Atlanta. She is my homie, Chicago win, Mika Villas. What up, girl?
Where did they make you from so I can burn that place to the ground? Hi, boy. How are you?
After last night, I'm doing great, man. My social media has been going on non-stop, and we're going to talk all about that during this show. Because I'm now I'm a reality TV star now.
Wow, that is amazingly crazy. What did the world do? They just don't know.
I'm telling you. I mean, you know, had a good weekend. Did a little bit of wrestling. You know what I'm saying? But the big thing, like I said, was yesterday. VH1, Leave It to Stevie, myself, our guest tonight, O'Shea Edwards, Blacklist Uno, Josh Willer, the entire cast and crew of Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment made our national debut on Leave It to Stevie. Super excited. Had some really great feedback. I've been getting all kinds of crazy messages from everybody. What was your take? Because I know you was actually at like the AWE viewing and stuff down in Atlanta. Like, what was the vibe there?
It was. We of course all knew that this had been done. And it was just kind of great to finally see the fruits of our labor, so to speak. AWE is special, and we say that all the time. It's an experience. Even to have VH1, Leave It to Stevie, those guys, that was an experience. That's a unique experience that you can't get any place else. So to kind of see, you guys on television, to watch you work, to see the reaction, to kind of listen to the cutaways and to what their mindset was as well, because we weren't privy to how they were feeling at the time. That was really great. That was a lot of work. There was a lot of blood, sweat, and tears on everybody's part. A lot of non-disclosure agreements on our parts as well. So that was great to finally be able to get that out there and to give the world a small sliver of what AWE is about. That was our reality TV version. The real, live, raw, uncut version of AWE, they can't show on VH1. They're not ready yet. But I can't wait for people to come in and experience it live and understand what we're really all about.
I'm gonna tell you what, like, you really couldn't tell from the actual show, but talk about the feeling, the electricity, because I mean, as one of the performers and stuff, like, I felt like there was a certain, like, the atmosphere in the building completely and totally changed. But you tell me, how was it like from the commentary booth where you were at?
The atmosphere did change. It was one of the biggest moments because, again, this was something different, something unique, where the crowd was clearly divided. There were people who were there to see Stevie J. There were people who were there for the wrestling. There were people who were there just for the spectacle of wrestling and this reality world coming head to head. So the energy, the electric was kind of split down the middle, where you had people booing them and cheering you guys and vice versa. It was unreal. I've been a part of a lot of television, both live, like produced and reality shows and just I've done a whole lot of different things. This was so unique in the feel, in the building, the energy, the excitement, the unknown, because we really didn't know what was going to happen. We didn't know how they would perform. We didn't know what you guys would do when you came out there, because of course you were on a mission to, I don't know what your mission was. So it was one of those unknown things, but so excited to see what was going to happen.
You talking about like what I was gonna do and all that stuff. Like really, I was and we're gonna talk, like I said, we're gonna talk about this with our guests and stuff, and I don't want to get too much into it. But the biggest thing was the fact that like it was more of making sure I didn't stink the joint out. So I think we accomplished that mission. What do you think, Mika?
You guys did really, really good. I mean, you kept the integrity of the business alive, because people will look at this as being, part of a reality show where they will maybe doubt the feeling and the intensity that was shown in the ring or what have you with the time that they showed you guys. But the fact of the matter is, we'll talk later with yourself as well as O'Shea, but the fact of the matter is you protected the business, I guess is the phrase that I would say, but you also gave those two, Stevie J, and I don't watch the show, so I don't know, was the guy's name Safari? Whatever his name is, you gave those two a healthy respect.
It was Lil Scrappy.
Oh, Little Scrappy, whatever.
Lil Scrappy, not Safari, Lil Scrappy.
Whatever. You guys gave them a healthy respect for the business as well, because just that day and just my subsequent conversations about their training, what have you, it seemed, and even in the show, it seemed that they started off with a whole different perception of the reality that they were stepping into, that it would be easy, that it would be nothing, and as time went on, they got a dose of real reality, I guess, where they knew that they were going in there, that they literally could get their ass whooped, handed to them, and hurt if they were not respectful, which they did turn from kind of joking about it to taking it serious. So that was good.
Oh yeah, definitely. And like I said, like we both mentioned, we're definitely going to talk about that in further detail, ladies and gentlemen, about that. But before we get on, once again, I want to remind you, this is the Wrestling Nerdcast on the Angry Marks Podcast Network. Huge shout out to our sponsors at Indie Customs. Once again, if you follow my social media, go to Indie Customs, pick up my brand new shirt, because why? I am World Star Hip Hop's favorite wrestler. Got that World Star design or inspired t-shirt available right now at Indie Customs. While you're on your computer checking out Indie Customs and ordering a bunch of merchandise, not only for myself and this podcast and all of their sponsored athletes, be sure to check out our friends at Pro Wrestling World. That's right, Pro Wrestling World, for all of your pro wrestling needs. Find out who's doing what, when, where, and why. And not only WWE and Impact Wrestling, I would go ahead and say, cut off real quick, just had an amazing pay-per-view with some friends of ours, Kiera Hogan, and Sue Young had a great showing at the latest Impact pay-per-view. But find out what happened at that pay-per-view. Find out what's going on with ROH, New Japan, Lucha Libre, and all the other wrestling and all the other independent wrestling around the country. Now, I want to talk about like this weekend, because it was a kind of a short weekend. I only had one show this past weekend, but you were there, UIW, in what was it, Buchanan, Georgia?
Buchanan, Georgia, yes, Buchanan.
That's what I said. Buchanan, Georgia. The Doug Summers Invitational Tag Team Tournament. Myself and Skylar Cross. We took on some of the higher Adrian Armour Murder one. It was a double count out and stuff. But you sit in the crowd, I had to give you some flack. You was talking junk to me. I had to talk junk back to you and a couple other fans and stuff. What was your take? What did you think about the match, and what did you think about the show?
Let's see. How do I be politically correct about this? You're a jerk. I mean, it was great. First and foremost, you faced Adrian Armour and Blacklist Uno, two members of the hierarchy. And let's be honest, you got your butt handed to you, and you guys, both teams got disqualified.
No. Hold on. I get my butt
No.
handed to me, okay?
Yeah, you did. Now, I appreciate the fact that it seems that you are trying to take Siler under your wing, taking this younger guy under your wing, but at the Pretty Boy Doug Summers Invitational, you didn't help mold and cultivate him to get the job done. But the crowd was all over you because you were being pretty rude as a competitor. You were jaw jacking with us and just breaking rules left and right. You were pretty horrible.
First of all, here's the thing. I was only talking junk to people who talk junk to me, and in some as a shoot. Like, I hate fans who I appreciate fans that come to the show and of course come there, have fun, talk junk to us. We'll talk junk to you, but don't ruin it. I hate fans who ruin stuff for children. It's like, if we're supposed to be the baby faces or whatever, don't ruin it for the kids and baby faces and cheerleaders. Like, don't do that. You know what I'm saying? That ruins the experience for children. And there was some kids in the crowd stuff. And once you do that, then the kids start doing that, and it just messes up the whole show. Number two, when you're fighting people like Adrian Armour, like Blacklist Uno, you have to fight fire with fire. You can't be Dudley Do-Right, and try to abide by all the rules, because they're going to fight dirty, so you have to fight just as dirty as they are to let them know that you're not a pushover.
Are those the teachings of Will Huckabee to any young greenhorn who happens to tag with you? Is that what you're teaching, Siler?
You're damn right.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. It was a great tag tournament. You had teams like yourself. The hierarchy was represented twice. The second team being Joseph Black and the Tragedy, Slade Porter. You had the IndyCar Mafia who came down from up north, and those guys, along with the Monster Squad, both Billy Brash and Jonathan Cutshall, those two teams making their debut in UIW were absolutely positively fantastic. If you are listening to the sound of my voice, you are someone who loves wrestling, who loves tag team wrestling, even individuals. These four guys can all go. You want to reach out to your local promotion and tell them to book Thomas Brewington, Eric Inneman, Billy Brash, and Joshua Cutshall, because formulated as teams together, they are badass. Individually, they are badass. IndyCar Mafia, Eric jumped off the top of this thing inside of this building, like where we were. I don't even know how to describe it, but he jumped from about, 12 feet in the air down onto his partner and onto his opponents. It was crazy. If you check out IndyCar Mafia on social media, on Facebook, I've retweeted the pictures. I actually took the pictures and some video. It is ridiculous.
Where's the pictures and video of my match? Huh?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Do I know you? Hi.
Man, see, once again, like, no love from the co-host. You know what I'm saying? Just no love.
I actually started cheering you at first, but then you faced the hierarchy. And believe it or not, the weird part is, you spoke about the kids. The kids were cheering for Blacklist Uno. The kids in Buchanan and UIW in that promotion, they love Blacklist Uno. I don't know what it is. He's like a Pied Piper. It doesn't matter who you are. If you're against them,
Nikki, you can't use the phrase. You can't use the phrase Pied Piper. It brings up thoughts of R. Kelly, and this isn't that type of podcast. And UIW is that type of show.
Get your mind out of the gutter. Oh my God. I'm just saying,
R. Kelly calls himself the Pied Piper. You know what I'm saying? You can't call yourself the Pied Piper. You can't refer to anybody involved with any company that I'm involved with as the Pied Piper of anything. There's no piping any pies.
Ladies and gentlemen, the thoughts and opinion of Will Huckabee are its own and not mine, and anybody with a shred of decency. This is why I boo you.
Really? Because I'm pretty sure anybody thinks of the Pied Piper, they think of R. Kelly.
This is why I boo you. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, great tournament, and can you remind me who won? Because I know it wasn't you.
And that's why you were on commentary. Now what? Oh snap! I want to say that I'm gonna call them Team Little People. Joe Black and Slade Porter. They were the winners of the tournament. I'm gonna call them Team Little People. What was that? What was the name of that country? What was the name of that country in that movie? Gulliver's Travels.
That shade of green. That shade of green. That envious green does not look good on you, Mr. Huckabee.
If any of our listeners and followers know the name of the Lilliputtens, Team Lilliputten, that's what I should call them.
Wow. I know they won. Joseph Black, Slade Porter did pick up the win. Slade Porter's going through some kind of evolution. His whole persona has changed. It was interesting. Joe Black is, again, he scares the hell out of me. No matter what he's doing, he could be standing still, and I am quaking in my boots. So they took on the Monster Squad, and they defeated the Monsters, and they picked up the win in the tournament. So congratulations to them. Congratulations to all the tournament's participants, including yourself. You all did a fabulous job.
It was a good show. It was a good show, and I like working for URW as one half of their tag team champions. It's a pleasure to work for them. I love the staff. Maybe not that building so much. The building that they were running the last couple times was way better. What was that, in Carrollton?
Yeah, the Carrollton, Georgia.
Like the 4-H place. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it's one of those things. You go where the people are, so that's kind of what UIW does, and who knows, maybe we'll get them within the Atlanta city limits one day, and we'll see how that works out.
Ooh, that would be wild.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of wild, just for the fact that UIW is like AWE's sister company, so that would be kind of wild. Anyway, did you do anything else wrestling related this weekend or earlier this week?
Oh my gosh. We've been on a hiatus, so I don't remember all what we talked about. I checked out a Viral Pro show this week or last weekend, but I haven't gone outside of my regular hanging out at WWA 4 day, of course, here in Atlanta, AR Fox Training School. We'll talk about that a little later, maybe for a smidge. I checked those guys and girls out. I've been keeping an eye on all the women's wrestling that's happening around the country in the independent scene, as at the end of May, I'll be going up to New Jersey to do Battle Club Pro. May the Queen reign. I'll be doing commentary there for that all-female show, their first that they're putting on, and I'm just checking out all the ladies as they go about their road to May the Queen reign. So I've been watching video from Rise, and there's a Shimmer that I've been checking out, even though I'm not there in person. I'm just, supporting products, supporting the wrestling, especially independent women's wrestling.
So did you get a chance to check out any of Impact, their new pay-per-view, their past pay-per-view, the one they just did? Did you check out Redemption?
There you go. Impact, Redemption. I've seen bits and pieces of it because, of course, like you said, we have friends, good friends of the show, Kiera Hogan and the one and only, the incomparable Su Yung, who are part of the Impact roster, as well as Shug D. So I saw the match with Kiera taking on Taya Valkyrie, and let me tell you, I loved it. Every freaking half a second of it was amazing to me. One, it's good to see.
Every freaking half a second?
Yes. So, every moment, I was just like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. I mean, seriously, if anybody was listening to me, they would have thought I was deep in prayer for how many times I just screamed, oh my God, just watching. But those girls, of course, they're absolutely fantastic. Redemption had lots of twists and turns in general as far as their pay-per-view goes. I think this was a great effort by Impact Wrestling, considering their new move forward, as they're picking up lots of independent talent and trying to put themselves out there, as well as that talent. As well as this pay-per-view, they incorporated the stars of Lucha Underground, Penta, I don't know what they're calling it, Penta Zero, El Zero Medro, whatever. And, God, I just lost my train of thought. But Phoenix, there we go. Phoenix.
Let me tell you something. Overall, because I want to get your overall thoughts of it, because we got to get ready to call our guests. Overall, I enjoyed the pay-per-view. I haven't watched the Impact, TNA, GFW, whatever you want to call it. We'll call it Impact, because that's what it is now. I really haven't watched their product, constantly or consistently within the last 2 years, maybe. But I did specifically watch this pay-per-view because our friends were on it. And I will say, overall, there was not a bad match, even the tag match. And I'm going to tell you right now, I don't understand why anybody would bring Scott Steiner into their company because he is unpredictable. But even the tag team match was very solid. There was not a bad match, in my opinion, on the card. And that main event, oh my God, was freaking believable. What are your overall thoughts? I'm sorry, about the pay-per-view.
You and I don't agree a whole lot, but I absolutely, positively, 100% agree with you on this. This reminds me of the Impact of old. I've gone to Impact shows. I've been at their pay-per-views in Orlando where they've had so much talent and it was overshadowed by just craziness. This is the right path. That main event, if you were in Orlando at the Sugar Mill, you saw like those three guys in the ring. But this time, a whole different match. And you can tell me if I'm wrong. It's so hard to come up with something different when you have three guys in the ring who don't really work with each other all the time, but who just work with each other at a high profile event. And now here they are again at another high profile event fighting for the title. That was amazing. All respect and kudos due to all three of those competitors because I'm a fan of them individually, but man, I just want to keep putting them in the ring against each other to see what they come up with next because it was absolutely amazing.
There you go. Now, with that being said, speaking of amazing, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk to tonight's guest right after this brief commercial. Do you like what you hear? Do you like hearing me and Mika go back and forth between ourselves and talking to some amazing guests from around the world of pro wrestling? Well, then be sure to check out our Patreon at patreon.com/The Wrestling Nerdcast. Donate everything from $7 and up. And as your donations go up, so do the prize packages. Everything from a follow on social media to join our exclusive Wrestling Nerdcast Facebook group to being able to book your own podcast with a guest of your choice within reason, people. Because trust and believe, we're not getting Stone Cold or AJ Styles on this podcast. But once again, if you like us, please support us and spread the word. Thank you. Talk to you later. And ladies and gentlemen, we're back. Once again, this is the Wrestling Nerdcast on the Angry Marks Podcast Network. Once again, huge shout out and thank you to our sponsors at Indie Customs. Indie Customs, make sure to go out there. If you have any needs, pro wrestling or non-pro wrestling needs, for you want something put on a shirt or a hat or stickers, whatever the case may be, Kim over there at Indie Customs can make it happen for you. Make sure to go there and check out the new World Star Hip Hop inspired Incredible Hulk t-shirt just released last night. Go and check that out, along with buying some other merchandise from not only this podcast, but all the other sponsored athletes, such as James Drake, the Lethal Lovers, the Gym Nasty Boys, the Hierarchy, Sugar D, etc., etc., etc. And while you're on your computer doing this whole social media thing, be sure to stop by and say hello to our friends at Pro Wrestling World and get all of your professional wrestling information of who's doing what and when and where and why, and sometimes who's actually doing who. With that being said, tonight's guest, I know him intimately. He is also, as of last night, a national treasure, a reality show star. He is, well, some people say, he's the silver tongue gorilla, he's won championships here and there. You can see him. He has been at AWE, Pro Wrestling Eagle, UIW. He's been tearing it up at Wrestlers Laboratory up north. He is Mr. Catch These Hands. Our guest tonight is O'Shea Edwards. What's going on, man?
Big homie, what happened?
What's up, man? Congratulations on your national TV debut.
Yeah, man, it's still kind of wild. Like, holy shit, like that was us. Like, that's dope.
Yes, yeah. We're gonna talk about that, but before we went to commercial, before we called you, we were talking about the Impact Wrestling pay-per-view redemption and stuff. And we both agreed that it was a really, really good show. There was, in my mind, there were no really bad matches. There were some good matches. There were some solid matches. There were some outstanding matches. Our friends and people that you're very familiar with. Kiera Hogan was on the show. Su Young was on the show. They were all on the show. They had great matches as well. I'm saying this because, off the air, you really didn't get a chance to watch it because you were coming back from Nashville. But I'm gonna ask Mika, and I'm gonna ask you, just from you, being in the business and hearing things. Was that last pay-per-view, Mika, was Redemption actually better than WrestleMania? Match quality-wise. If you look at the overall flow of the show, was Redemption better than WrestleMania?
Now, anybody listening probably went, ooh, how dare you be blasphemous. Guys, I was at Mania. I was one of the 70,000 X amount above whatever number of people sitting inside the Pontiac, whatever dome we were in there in Orleans. We're all drunk.
The Silver Dome, the Mercedes-Benz Silver,
whatever. We were drunk. It didn't matter. We were drunk, and I wasn't that drunk where I couldn't appreciate the wrestling. Match quality wise, absolutely Redemption was better than WrestleMania. Redemption gave you wrestling. Redemption gave you something that you were not expecting. It was not predictable. Everything that you thought would happen did not happen.
They gave Scott Steiner as a tag team champion again. Damn it.
Scott Steiner.
What's wilder than that?
One, he showed up. Two, Impact, they did the worst thing anybody would have possibly thought possible by giving that man a microphone. Like, what is it? Like, who does that? Like, who's high? Who doesn't know that you do not give Scott Steiner a microphone? Are you kidding me? Fuck the censors. Shoot us all in the head. The man has a mic. They did it anyway.
Now, Mika, I'm like, let's give it to our guest. O'Shea, what have you heard about? What is your thoughts about Impact and the changes that they've done? Because, they have new guys and new people in the front office. They have Scott D'Amore. They have, Jimmy Jacobs, Don Callis, Gail Kim. They have such a great front office now. What is your thoughts about, this new Impact Wrestling that we've been seeing?
Honestly, man, once Twitter blew up, man, once they debuted like those new titles, which by the way are gorgeous. Those things look like, I saw them, I was like, man, those things are pretty hot. Like, those things are dope. My biggest thing is, man, I'm like, diversity breeds, like, pretty much like this. A high tide rises all ships. And last night, from the snapshots that I was kind of like perusing through when I got results on Twitter and all that good stuff, like, to me, Impact took a step forward in terms of, for a while, they were the butt of like a lot of jokes. But last night, just from hearing all the stuff and getting to watch some of the snapshots that I was able to get, man, they took a very good step forward into the right direction, into gaining some well-deserved legitimacy compared to like these guys that got a TV deal. These guys are bringing in some real good talent, even though just because you don't know them doesn't mean these guys aren't good. And to me, like, your casual fan, like, well, I don't know who he is, so this guy must be garbage. I'm like, dude, sit down and watch this dude and like be surprised. So I can hear. So
I was gonna say, like, they've done a really good job of bringing in great indie talent. And vets and stuff who have made a living on the indie circuit and really know how to connect with a crowd.
Yeah, and to an extent, man, that's when you can get that type of name out there, and you really tap into a whole new demographic. Because now you're bringing in those hardcore indie fans, and now they're watching because they want to see their boys succeed. And then those guys who only watch, WWE and Impact and everything, they get a whiff of, who is this guy? Which means now they get on they get on YouTube, they'll get on Twitter, they go on Instagram, whatever, they're going to follow that guy. Now that guy's made more fans. So once again, like, the tide rises and everybody wins. And as long as everybody wins at the end of the day, I'm a happy man.
Yeah, speaking of tide rising and being a happy man, we'll talk about it. Me and Mika was talking about it earlier on the show and stuff, and we kind of talked about it a little bit and stuff when you first got on. But last night, VH1, Leave It to Stevie, me, you, Scrappy, and Stevie J in a wrestling ring, appearances by Josh Wheeler and Blacklist, Uno, and Solid Cross. But really and even though it's a reality show, so they're talking about more than just the wrestling, you can kind of tell, like, this was the wrestling episode.
Yeah. Yeah. To me, this was a wrestling episode. Like, honestly, like, pretty much when they start talking about something else, I'm like, all right, I'm changing the channel. Like, I'm coming back when they talk about wrestling because that's what I'm here for right now. Because other than that, I don't watch that show. Like, at all. I just don't.
Yeah, I'm not a reality show. I'm about to say, are you a reality show fan? Because I'm not.
Man, you know what? When it first started, like when The Real World was like the shit to watch, like I was, but eventually, like I evolved my viewing taste, because it got really stupid, and I was just like, this isn't real. Like, it's like, to me, the word, or the word saying somebody, oh, this is reality television, to me, it's a hypocrisy. Because it's like, no, it's not. It's like, this is more scripted than anything I've ever seen in my life. Like, there's nothing about this is real. So I'm just like, some people love it, because I guess to them it's like an escape and everything, and that's cool. But I'm like, it is what it is. Like, if you think this is how some of these people act, like when the cameras are off, you got nothing coming.
Now, let me ask, because when I heard that we were wrestling them and stuff, I was super excited and stuff, and like that whole time. But when they finally got to the building, and ladies and gentlemen, I'm just gonna be honest, we were there way before they were there. But even the fact that, like, I was one of the first people in the building, but the cameras were already set up. When did you realize that day that it was becoming real?
Actually, it was when I first walked in, and I guess I got stopped by, a PA, I don't know I guess a production assistant, whatever. And she was like, yeah, I need your license, and then you just sign this release, and then I need to take your picture of you holding said release and your license. And I was like, what is this all about? And then on top of that, it really hit home, I think, right before we went out. And I had my shirt on, and she was like, you can't wear that. And I was like, why not? Like, well, because, you don't have a release for, copyright. First, I'm like, sweetheart, this is my design. Like, I own this. She's like, oh, okay. Well, sign this. You can wear that.
Oh, my. Man, look, it was so many, ladies and gentlemen, it was so many things that you don't know about that involves making a reality TV show. But what I was getting into is the fact that we were there way before Stevie and Scrappy got there. And I think that by the time they actually showed up, myself personally, like, the whole mystique of wrestling and working with these guys was gone, and now I had gotten pissed. And I know that you, like you were there beside me. I was like, man, the hell with these guys. Fuck them. I don't care how much money they have. Like, I'm gonna beat the piss out of them. I know you were trying to kind of like talk to me, but personally, how are you feeling? Like, as time goes on, the show is about to start. The show is going on, and they're still not there yet.
Man, I honestly do. I felt disrespected to an extent. And that was just me just being a grown man. Because this isn't so much just something we do. You know what I'm saying? Like, we put in a lot of time for this. We put in our own money for this. This isn't really, like, to call it a passion would be underselling it. Like, this is my life. Like, without it, like, I don't know what else to do. And so with that being said, like, I take it seriously, just because I consider myself a business, and when somebody doesn't respect my business, like, we got problems. So when all of a sudden it's like, yeah, here they are, they show up, and it wasn't even so much that they showed up late, because honestly, I kind of expected to show up late, just because it's like, why wouldn't they show up late? Like, let's be for real. Like, we know who you guys are. Like, yeah, of course it would show up late. It was the fact that, like, we were trying to, like, get shit together and do stuff like, hey, make sure these guys are on the same page, and it's like, oh, well, they got to film something real quick. They'll be done in 10 minutes, and then, like, 10 minutes pass, 20 minutes pass, 30 minutes pass, and we're just sitting there looking like jackass. Like, that's when I started to get, like, kind of, because it kind of boiled down to, like, okay, like, me and your time wasn't valuable, and that's what bothered me, because I take that as a personal slight. And I was like, man, if these people don't come on, because you ain't about to put me on VH1 and have me look like a jackass.
No, speaking of jackasses, that was a great segue. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to my co-host, the lover of waffles, the voice of speech impediments, the receiver of all things unsolicited, Chicago win, Mika Villas. Mika, what do you have for our guest tonight?
I swear, like, everything holy and unholy, I hate you. Anyway, so I don't want to touch upon your anger so much, O'Shea. Let's talk about your elation. So last night, Huckabee touched on a little bit about his social media blowing up, and you're everywhere in general. Seriously, I don't know if you have a home or you're just constantly on the road, because you're out there getting your grind on. But when this thing hit on VH1, tell me, one, literally how you felt to see, the fruits of your labor, because you had some, we'll call them challenges. I'm being Switzerland here. As you waited for this thing, to, to kind of jump off in the ring and get it finally done. But now here you are, you're watching. How did you feel watching, and what was the reaction you got from your friends and fans?
Man, it was almost surreal, Other than like me filming, like my own stuff, it was the first time like I got to see myself like on TV. It was really surreal. Like I was exhausted yesterday, so like by like 9 o'clock I was already in the bed, just kind of hanging out, just watching TV. And I knew it was coming on at 9:30, and so I put on Facebook and all that stuff, yada yada yada. And by like 9:45, my phone's blown up, and it blew up for the better part of an hour of just people sending me pictures of people screenshotting the show. My folks is watching this, that, and the other. And it, like, even though it felt surreal, to me, it was another day in the office, Like, this was the job that I was supposed to do, and I did it. The thing of it is now it's like, all right, well, now that it's out there and everybody's seen it, how do I capitalize on this? How do I turn this into something bigger? That way I can turn that into something bigger and da-da-da-da. So how do I use this VH1 exposure into a launch pad, Because, like, I can't speak for everybody else, but, out of that whole locker room hub, they chose us, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, right. Who do we ask to turn this into something, because nobody else has done this before, at least in my inner circle. Like, nobody's done this before. So it's like, okay, well, how do I turn this in? Basically, how do I turn this into money? You know what I'm saying? Because that's what we're all here for. We're trying to get paid. So right. It was wild to see it. I'm glad it happened. I don't regret doing it. I'd do it again. But at the same time, it's like, all right, well, it's happened. It's out. So let's make some money off this thing. Let's go. Let's keep this train moving.
There you go. Speaking about keeping this train moving, let's step back just a little bit, and because you're right, you were chosen for this. You, and unfortunately Huckabee, I mean, they could have got you a better partner. I'll be honest with you, but they had the talented one, and then there was Huckabee. But let's talk about how your talent was cultivated.
Oh man,
Wyatt, Huck, tell people, because you speak about this not just being your passion, about this being your life. Tell people how you got to this point, where O'Shea started and how O'Shea came into wrestling, so that they understand the feel behind what this is all about for you.
Yeah, it's weird. I haven't been doing this very long. Like, this is year 5, and people try to figure out. I think I walked through and people are like, "Yo, I thought you've been doing this a lot longer." At least that's the way you kind of hold yourself when you walk into a room. And I'm like, nah. Sometimes, man, it's not about the years, it's about quality. I tell people all the time. I was like, NFL drafts, kids all over the country from college and everything. And you have this 23-year-old kid take another grown man's job who's been in the league for 15 years. Just because you've been doing this for that long doesn't mean that you're better than the next guy. It is what it is. But I started with Johnny Swinger up in Kennesaw. And really, it was one of those things of, I've been a fan of wrestling for damn near my whole life. And it got to a point to where, you know what, man, I think I can do this. I was working full-time at the fire department, and but, like, my life wasn't fulfilled, Like, there was that whole, like, whatever. I always filled it with football, but I ain't gonna lie, I wasn't the greatest football player in the world. I just wasn't. Like, I was good at it, but I wasn't where I wanted to be with it, because I didn't have that fire for it.
Right.
But wrestling I do. And so I got started with Johnny, and I just kind of took to like a duck in the water, When I first walked in, it's like I owned it, because I wasn't so much me trying to be ego-driven. It was just one of those things of, if you feel like you belong, who's really going to tell you different? Johnny was a good teacher, man. Johnny gave me the real basics. Basically, hey, this is how you don't look stupid in front of people. And then I got hooked up with Robert Gibson a few months later after doing some other shows. Swinger gave me his blessing. He was like, hey, dude, listen, I can't teach you everything. I'm not going to sit there and tell you that I can. So anytime you learn from somebody else, like, go do it. And so I kind of went over there with Robert, and I owe Robert Gibson a lot, because while Johnny taught me the basic building blocks, I had holes all throughout my game, and Robert filled them, because he's old school. That's what he does. And so no matter what happened, no matter where you at in the match, he taught me, hey, man, this is how you get here. This is how you do this. This is how you do that. And as I grew under Robert, I still want to learn more because by this time it's like 2016, 2017. So it's like there's more that I could be doing because while most people are like, oh yeah, I can basically work the headlock for like 12 minutes, like that's great, but like that's just not gonna get you paid. Like it's just not.
Right.
I got in contact with actually I think one time how I got met with murder was was because I think one day Agent Arbor came down to Gibson's school and we just rolled around. Had a great time, and so he was like, hey man, you should come check us out one day. And that's kind of how I did it. And then I think the very first Rumble, like that was kind of my coming out party for AWE. And then when I heard that Merger would put on a school, I was like, yo, man, you know what? Listen, what do I have to lose? So I just kind of like, yo, I'm in. And so Murder really did kind of got me into like how to connect with today's crowd, and how to basically, you can take everything that you know now and you can always add to it because, if you have your base, but you still have to evolve into something that translates into today. And armed with that, like ever since then, I've just been rocking and rolling. And, I still go out and I still train. I still go out and I still learn from people just because the minute you think you know it all, man, you might as well go ahead and just hang them up. And it got to a point to where this is slowly, like the past year, it's been getting some real traction, like Huck said before, I've been really putting some miles, and 4 years ago, I never thought I'd be traveling half as much as I am now. And it's awesome. I'm humbled, but, I'm hungry. Like I'll always be hungry because I want this in the worst way, My wife's down for me, she I ain't gonna lie, that woman's fucking awesome because without her, I can't do this shit. So, she holds it down when I'm gone, I've been blessed to be able to actually make something financially out of this and, it's been working out so well. So really at this point in time, it's like, hey, let's ride this train for as far as it goes and then we'll go from there.
Ride it till the wheels fall off. Speaking of things that wheels just fell off on a long time ago, I'm going to let you go ahead and talk back to Huckabee. I'm sorry in advance.
No,
really. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Wrestling Nerdcast on the Angry Marks Podcast Network. We're talking to our guest tonight, reality show TV star and national treasure, co-national treasure, the Silver-Tongued Gorilla, O'Shea Edwards. I'm going to ask you about this, man, because I want to get your view of the match and my view of how the match really went and how they showed it on TV. Because in my opinion, overall, the match went very good for who we were working with, for two guys who were not professional wrestlers. They were athletic, but they weren't professional wrestlers. And for the amount of time that we had to go over a match with them, I think the match went very well. And I think that what they showed on TV, with the exception of the fact that they didn't really show us beating up on them, it was kind of like, their personal highlight reel. Overall, I think that what they showed on TV was pretty cool. My biggest pop actually was the fact that they actually let segments of our promo actually air online on air and stuff.
Man, I was very happy that made it because I think afterwards I was wondering, I knew they were chop it up and do this, that, and the other to make those boys look good. Like that was to be expected, but I wasn't sure how much of our stuff was going to get in. So when your stuff got in, I was like, oh, hell yeah. And then when my stuff got in, I was like, yo, that's what's up. Because what this TV show didn't tell you is, that was the loudest pop. When we came down, that place came unglued because nobody knew. Nobody knew who they had. And so here you come, here I come, and that place loses its mind. And
we were talking about that. Yeah, we were talking about that, at the beginning of this show, that, AWE, the crowd for AWE is already rabid anyway, and the actual regular AWE fanatics are already loud and stuff. But it was like that match was the semi-main for that night. There was the regular AWE fans, and then there were what I like to call the Stevie J and Scrappy fans, like their friends and family and all the reality TV people and stuff. Like the crew was all there, and you could tell that the crowd was really split in half. But it was like when they came out, it was like, and the regular AWE fans were kind of like, they were cheering for them because, of course, the majority of us, was in the clubs dancing a little scrappy, and we was dancing to, songs produced by CDJ. So we really looked up to them. But like you said, when we walked out, it was like, oh shit. And it was like in my opinion, and I want to ask you that, it was more than electric. It was like the feelings or the emotions of the fans were like a blanket that you could just wear. Like you could actually feel, like it was a tangible feeling that you could actually grab onto.
Yeah, man. And that's like you were in front of me when we came down, but there was a moment where I just sat there, like maybe like a second or two, man, and I just took it in. Like I took it in because, like you said, dude, you could feel it. Like, you could feel it, but they were hyped. And because, like, if most of these guys knew how this was going to go down, but at the same time, like, and it's something I've always, like, people may say whatever they want about AWE. I love, like, the rabid, hardcore fans of AWE because those people are what make that show. It is. Like, it just is. But just to be, you could feel it, man. I could feel it thumping in my chest. And then we get to cut that promo. And then they were still behind us. And almost like the crowd was almost like, instead of 50-50, it's more like 60-40 us. Like, they were really into it. And then when we started the match, because I remember I started it off, and I had some people out in the crowd because they never got to see me wrestle before. And so I was like, yo, check it out. This is in Atlanta. It's free. You can't beat it. Like, you have no excuse not to ever go to a wrestling show. Like, it's free. Like, come on. You can't beat free. And so, like, I had, like, my sister and my brother in the crowd. They never got to see me wrestle before. So, for me, it felt good because they got to watch me do this. And then right before we started, and, like, people started chanting my name, and I was like, yo, that's what's up. Like, I can get used to that shit.
Let me ask you this, because let me ask you this before you continue. On the show, like, there was a moment when you picked up Lil Scrappy and literally put him on the top rope, and I remember, like, Stevie J was like, his legs are just a little dangling down. What am I supposed to do? That to us, that was, I know when we talked about this stuff, like, oh, we're gonna do this, to us, that was just like, it was a basic common move. But on TV and during the show, they made that seem like, you were Hogan who had just body slammed Andre the Giant. How did that make you feel?
Man, actually, it made me feel, because when you just said it before, man, half that crowd was just like, they don't really know what wrestling is. They see it on TV, but they don't think nothing of it. But then when you watch a grown man pick up another grown man and then sit him on top of something like he's a kid, like, people was like, yo. And to see it on TV, I started laughing. I was like, I remember that. Like, I remember when I did that shit. Yeah, that was dope as fuck. But I loved it. It was one of the few bits that actually made me laugh.
Yeah, I think that's, like, and like I said, a lot of people don't realize, and even Mika, like, even though Mika's a commentator and stuff, and she had to fill out paperwork as well, like, people didn't realize, like, how many rules and regulations and how many constraints that we really had put together this match and working with these two guys. And ladies and gentlemen, I don't want this to be misconstrued in any way possible. It was not Scrappy and Stevie J, because those two guys were really cool. They were really humble. Not like a lot of stars like, oh, I've been watching wrestling for 30 years. I know what I'm doing. They were like, look, this is y'all thing. Help us have the best performance, period. And we were like, cool. And we were able, once we were able to see them face to face, everything was cool. It was everybody around them. That was the problem. But there was there was so many restrictions that we had. And of course, you're wrestling and you're doing something very physical with two reality TV stars. The finish, and I'm gonna go ahead and tell you now. I know everybody was like clowning you because they're like, O'Shea's gonna take all the heat. He's gonna take all the shine, and Will's just gonna take the pin. He's gonna pull a vet card. But in my head, and I can say this now that's been on TV and stuff, and everything has turned out good. Because I knew that you're still green, I was like, they're doing this really crazy finish. And even though you're very strong, it's like they don't know what the hell they're doing. No. If nothing else, I will catch this guy and just take a back bump and hold him up until he's able to place himself down for this move. Because, of course, everybody knows that, like, Stevie J is a huge Superfly Jimmy Snuka fan and wanted to do the splash. I'm like, I will catch this guy, and I will take all the responsibility for that. Go ahead.
Well, I remember us talking beforehand, like, yo. Like this, I remember you talking to the fact, like, Like, we're gonna have to like carry these things. And I was like, I had every intention. Like, I already knew in my head who's about to carry these for. I already knew it. And even the producer was like, hey man, you have these guys. They're this and that. And we're like, yeah, man, it's no big deal. Like, my thing is, dude, is like you're talking to professionals, you know what I'm saying? Like Crappy and Stevie are professionals. Like, it's the same courtesy. We are professionals too, you know what I'm saying? Everybody's going to do the job and everybody's going to be fine. For what it's worth, man, for those who didn't see the whole thing, what was seen on TV and then what happened out there are totally two different things, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So people want to see it as a clown, but like you didn't see the whole match from the get-go. Like, nah, dude, that's not how that went down.
Exactly. Speaking of A Tale of Two Cities, I'm gonna pass it back one final time for my co-host Mika, because I know there's a couple of things that she still wants to ask you, but I'll go ahead and let her ask you those questions.
That was like the nice cutaway. All right. So yeah, I wasn't gonna interrupt you guys or y'all will add it, but just for people who don't understand the reality of television, when you have people even who are trained professionals. Let's take, for instance, Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. He's a trained professional. The reason that The Rock could not perform is because he's doing movies and television to the point where they won't allow for the physicality. So you guys had to take two guys who were not as well trained or as trained as someone like The Rock, who was born in a wrestling family, and do feats of physicality where most of the time any company and all these guys have insurance on different body parts and this, that, and the other would not allow for them to do. So, kudos to you guys again for, like you said, being professional, but also understanding the mechanics of what's going to have to happen here, because that's what people don't get. People go, oh, well, they signed up to get in there. It's not so much that. If there had been a misstep of some sort and someone had gotten injured, that would have been huge. And it would have been bad all around, not just for them, but for us, because, what you guys have done is trailblazing. It's opened the door for, we're in a central location here. All stops, all roads, all airplanes come to Atlanta. So you've opened the door for people to come in and work with our stars, our team, to do things in wrestling that they may have thought about doing that are unusual, that will help cross brand, cross promotion, because, you've got reality TV out here doing all types of things on the E network with the WWE, but we've got our own brand of reality here that you guys have stirred up. So kudos for that. Now that I've said all that, let's talk about O'Shea. I want to talk about O'Shea the motivator. O'Shea the big brother, because I don't know you as well as the guys and girls in the locker room know you, because we're on a whole different level. But I have heard from everybody, male and female, just how positive and motivating you are when it comes to them being on the road, them having a question, them not so sure of anything. Talk about how, even as you are someone with not as much experience, still is able to go out and motivate those who come to you with questions. That's an amazing feat in itself, I think.
Really, it's one of those things of, man, to me, it's too easy to be negative. Like, to me, when people start getting negative and pessimistic, to me, it's a cop-out. But it really takes an individual to actually sit there and, not so much be like, so optimistic it makes you sick. Like, oh my God, like, shut the fuck up. But just to be like, hey man, if you need some help, like, I got you. Everything I've ever done, I've always tried to leave it better than the way I found it. And so when it comes to wrestling, it's trying to leave it, when it's my time to go, it's, make sure it's better that I was in it. There's, wrestling doesn't owe me shit. Wrestling doesn't owe me a goddamn thing. But it's so far, it's given me more than I can ever imagine. And with that being said, to be able to give that back means a lot to me, because that comes back around. Because I'm going to need something. And, it's nice to know that when I need something, it's never a second thought. Like, yo, those shit needs help. Let's go get them. Like, it's not a big deal. Not to mention, a lot of this stuff I've had to figure out myself, Like I've had to figure it out because like nobody ever told me, so I didn't know how to do it. I had to find out the hard way. But just because I had to find out the hard way about some stuff doesn't mean that everybody else has to. So if anybody ever has a question about something, I try to answer the best that I can. If I don't know it though, I'm humble enough to be like, yo man, I don't know, but I can point you in the right direction to somebody who does. When I'm on the road, it's the same thing. Like I'm here to have this is fun. Let's be real. Like this is a blast, and the fact that we get to make money about it, bonus. And so like anytime that I get a chance to like go out and do something, like I want people to come with me, not because it's like, oh, I'm gonna get them on somewhere. It's like, nah, because you need to come out. If you've never done it before, get out here and experience it. Like I tell people all the time, if you're gonna ride with me, there's always room at my table to eat. There is. But with that being said, though, you make your own damn plate. Like I'm not gonna make another man's plate. I'm just not. But once you get your plate, you need a place to sit down, boom, I got you. Regardless, I always got you. You sit down at my table, you can always eat. And, if I eat, we can eat together. Some people get it. Some people don't. I don't knock them for it. I don't look down on them about it. That's just them. It's all good. Because it's whatever. Everybody's journey is going to be different than mine, so I can't knock somebody doing things different. 2 plus 2 is 4. 3 plus 1 is 4. 4 plus 0 is 4. There's more than ways to get there. But like I said before, it's easy. It's real easy to be negative. It's real easy to be bitter and to be cynical. But to actually sit there and actually put forth that type of energy that people want to be around you, and to put forth that energy that people actually want to, associate with you, so that say you just said every time I hear somebody, Shay's always positive. That's awesome. I didn't coax anybody saying things like, hey, when you see so and so, tell them to do a good job. No, I don't worry about it, because if I do a good enough job around people, if I have a decent energy being around people, they do it for me. I don't have to sit there and sing my own praises. They do it for me because I did right by them. And to me, doing right by people means more than anything.
All right. Speaking of do it right, your moniker and your logo and your whole persona, I think it is done so damn right. It is, as a fan, it stopped me. It caught my eye. It made me want to know more. So tell us about and explain to those, again, who may not be familiar yet, because damn sure they will be soon, about the Silver Tongue, and give them a little bit of who that is.
Yeah. Well, I was a theater kid growing up. I took it in high school. I took it in college. I loved it. I loved theater. It's always been a little secret passion of mine, just because it's just whatever. I always loved improv, because it makes you think on your feet. And when it came to wrestling, me doing a promo was actually kind of easy because I could think on my feet. I'm a witty type of dude. My humor is kind of almost, I don't want to say dry, but it's witty. I'm quick. So if you're going to say something to me, have your mind right, because I'm coming right back at you with something harsh. So back when I first started, someone was like, oh man, this kid's got a silver tongue. And I kind of looked at him. I was like, what the hell does that mean? And then I looked it up, and I was like, oh, word, yeah, okay, I can get behind that. The logo was something that I drew up. I drew that up myself, because I have a real big affinity to Japanese culture. I had the opportunity to go on vacation. Get that out the way. Went on vacation. And I fell in love with the place. I've always had a thing towards just Japan in general, and to get a chance to go, it was amazing. So anytime I get a chance to include that in my shtick, if you will, I'm gonna take advantage of it. So what my logo is really is just an Oni mask, and really Oni mask is really one of those things of basically they just portray demons. And the thing is, people automatically want to assume demons with devils, and it will seem like it's bad or anything like that. It's no, actually that's not it at all. Actually, stuff like Oni masks, they represent so many different things. And so with that, it didn't put me in this box of, oh, he just represents this one thing. No, I'm everything. And so it came that thing of, the silver tongue devil, the silver tongue demon, the silver tongue gorilla. It just worked on so many different levels. I just kind of rocked it. And so it's just kind of been my thing. When people see it, they know exactly who it is, which is something I've been, working on trying to do for a real long time. And so it's wild the fact that it's taken off the way it has. I'm not mad at it. I actually love the fact that people are taken to it the way they have. And so, it's almost like I said, it's humbling the fact that, something that I created, literally pulled it out of my ass, and now watch it to become this thing now. but when people see it, they don't even have to question who it is. Like, they already know. So stuff like that makes me feel pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's very, very impressive. It's very distinct. I found myself watching promos for shows, places outside of Atlanta, places I'm like, I'm not gonna be at this show, but I want to watch this promo. It's an O'Shea promo, so that right there is just how entrancing that your work is. Like you spoke about earlier, how seeing yourself on TV for some stuff that you didn't shoot, that you had basically no real control over, because when you do your promos and what you put your stuff together, you clearly are creative and you have control, and you piece it together so very well. So last thing from me before I let you go back to Huckabee, and again, I apologize, you had to team with the guy, you shared a locker room, that's had to be hell on earth. But last thing for me, what does O'Shea do other than grind? What is the fun thing that you do, the relaxing, that for the 1.3 seconds that you're not doing wrestling related things? What is that?
I'm a real big gamer. Like, my old man got me into video games as a kid, but then again, as a kid, so like, it's just that much. But like, when I'm finally like not moving, or if I'm not in the ring, if I'm not in the gym or not in a car, I'm usually like at home and like on the sofa, and like I'm playing Xbox or PlayStation. Usually my wife makes me reading a book, and so not to disturb her, I put on I spent the money, got those really expensive like headphones, like those noise canceling headphones on. So I turn the TV on mute, I turn the headphones up, I put my game in, and I just veg out. Because like you said, I'm always grinding. I'm always trying to make business moves and do this and do that, and try to, get constantly trying to keep my business moving. Where when I for that little time where I can just stay home and chill out and I just veg, like I'm good. Like I'm calm. I'm happy. The wife's happy because I'm home. So she's not stressed out or anything about where I'm at. So like I said, for me, I'm a gamer. I'm a real big gamer. I'm such a nerd for that type of stuff too. So most people say, what games do you play? I was like, what games don't I play?
Yeah, that was the follow-up question for that, because I would be remiss as a gamer if I did not come at you correctly. You said Xbox and PlayStation. What are we playing? Mm-hmm. What are we, Xbox 360? Are we on Xbox One? Are we PlayStation 3, 4? Where we at?
No, we're okay. Okay, so I play PS4 and Xbox One. Usually my PS4 is like when I want to play by myself and I don't want to be bothered by anybody. So right now I'm playing MLB The Show 18. I'm not even a baseball fan, but damn it, that game ain't fun.
EA Sports. EA Sports knows how to do a damn game.
Yeah. This is not even EA Sports. That's the best sport. That's somebody else. EA doesn't have a baseball franchise.
Yeah,
no, they don't have a baseball franchise. Yeah, actually, this is the MLB The Show is a PS4 exclusive. So Xbox doesn't even have a baseball game, and it's one of the one Major League Sports that EA doesn't have a finger in. Like they can't touch it. They can't touch baseball. So that's the main. That's what's in there right now. That's what's in my PS4 right now. And my Xbox right now, because I'm a giant nerd. Right now I'm playing Monster Hunter World. I love that game. It's addicting. That's what's downloaded. That's what's up. Like if you cut it on, that's the game that's coming up. But in the system right now, it's Tom Clancy's The Division. That's what's in there right now. Because I'm a big type guy.
All right. Speaking of, guys, well, I'm just gonna be nice. I'm gonna let you talk back to Huckabee. Let him wrap this up.
I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Mika, because quite like how you know nothing about black culture, I know exactly nothing about video games. Like the last video game I actually played consistently was probably Halo 2.
Don't lie. Do not lie. The last video game you played consistently was Pong. Anyway, go ahead.
Excuse me. But the fact that you remember a time before ColecoVision, don't you talk to me.
What's ColecoVision?
Exactly. You still have a Betamax behind you in the video. Back to our guests. Here's my question, because now it's time to wrap it up. I know our time with you is running short and stuff, so we usually ask a couple of speed questions to our guests and stuff just to see if we're ever going to have them back on. So I'm going to ask you 3 questions, and then you just tell us whichever one, just tell us your answer, all right? All right, ready? Question number 1. Yeah. Question number 1, Sheetz or Wawa?
Sheetz.
Oh, see? Waffle House or IHOP?
Ooh,
Ooh. Mm-hmm.
All right, Mia, I need to ask I'm assuming they're both open 24 hours, correct?
Yes.
All right.
It's after a show. It's after a show. You're on the road, whatever. Okay. Where you going first? You want to hear Waffle House or IHOP? Which was the first choice?
Waffle House.
All right. Now, this is a special question, specifically because of who our guest is tonight. I've got to ask you, Lil Jon and the East Side Mafia or 3-6 Mafia?
Lil Jon.
Oh, I don't know. 3-6 won an Oscar. They won an Oscar, man. You can't touch Project Pat.
Here's the thing, man. I understand that, but like growing up, because like I said, I was born in New York, but I was pretty much raised in Atlanta. Like growing up, like that was my fucking soundtrack. Like just Little Johnny and East Side Boys, just that was just it. Like when we played high school ball, that's what we came out to. We played college ball, that's what we came out to. Like that was just my shit. it just was, man. Like I said, now you take that up to like Tennessee, it's a whole different question. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. All right. Well, look, let me ask you, because this is the part of the show where we tell our guests to get your shit in. So go ahead and get your shit in. Get all your social media where our fans and listeners can see you coming up in the next couple of weeks. Turn our fans and listeners into your fans and listeners, and vice versa. So go ahead and get your shit in, man.
My bad. I appreciate it. Like, first of all, man, thank y'all for having me. Like I said, it's humbling when somebody wants to take time out to talk to me. Like that's a big deal for me. I'm getting my shit in now. So here we go. So if you want to follow me on social media, you can follow me on Twitter at All Damn Day O'Shea. It's one word. On Instagram, it's the same thing, All Damn Day O'Shea, except there's an underscore between each word. If you can't see me at a show, merch-wise, you can find me on whatamaneuver.net/O'Shea Edwards. I got all my cool shit there, too. Big shows coming up. I got Pro Wrestling Ego coming up on May 19th. Trying to get all the big shows. I got June the 9th. Is my Florida debut. I'll be going to Blueprint Pro Wrestling out in Deerfield Park, Florida. So that's pretty big. In July, I got Wrestlers Lab and also have Innovative Pro Wrestling out in Jersey. So the next 3 months, that's my pretty much all the big shit I got coming up. But dude, I appreciate y'all having me on, man. That's dope.
Well, thank you for being a guest on the show. I'm sorry that you had to talk to Mika, but she kind of comes along with the podcast. So, but thank you once again, man. I know I'm gonna get in touch with you because we got a lot of things that we got to talk about. We got to coordinate and everything. So, but thank you for being a guest on the show, man. And I'll talk to you later. All right?
Yeah, man. Without y'all, man. I'll catch you up.
All right. Bye-bye.
Yeah, man.
Mika.
Yes.
O'Shea. All damn day. O'Shea.
Yeah, I only had one in me right there, and that was it. But O'Shea, again, is one of those people who is out there living this life. I guess the kids are saying, living your best life. O'Shea is living the damn life right now. He is out there. He is living his dream. He is living his passion, like he says, an understatement. The fact that this national exposure on VH1, if you looked, you've seen him on NXT as well. We didn't even touch upon that. O'Shea is out there making moves. I guess at Cardi B, making money moves. And that is what it's all about. When you see somebody who is in this for the right reasons, who is humble, who is open, approachable, who is just everything that you want to be, not just in a wrestler, but in a human being. I mean, really and truly, O'Shea is a star on not the rise, but on the rocket to the top. Did I kill you?
Yes, because you got me right there.
That's good. That was my point. I wanted to put him over and bury your ass. There we go.
Did you just quote Cardi B?
I did.
Is that you know what? I'm a shouts out to Kiera Hogan because that's the only way you know a Cardi B song.
That is absolutely true.
Listen, that's the only way that you know a Cardi B song. Even though the album just dropped this month and is off the chain, I'm gonna go ahead. Shouts out to Cardi B for dropping that amazing fucking album. I'm gonna go ahead and say I know this has nothing to do with wrestling, but that album is badass. Also, shouts out to J. Cole for releasing another badass album. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're not listening to Cardi B or J. Cole, you got a fucking issue.
I have a issue.
You have a bunch of issues, Miss Ambassador of Perfection. But
I hate you.
But get back to our guest, like O'Shea, I clown around him a lot, and I call him Will Huckabee Light. whatever the case may be, you know what I'm saying? But he's really been doing a whole lot since I first met him, like 3 years ago when he was part of a tag team called the Dogs of War. Like, I've always known he's had potential, but I'm really proud of the moves that he's making and things that he's done in such a short time. So, with that being said, Mika, what do you got coming up this weekend?
This weekend, I am trying to rest and relax as much as possible. But on Friday night, there is a benefit wrestling show here in the Georgia area. Action Wrestling is putting on a show. All the proceeds are going to Make-A-Wish of Georgia, I believe it is. So I will be going out and supporting. A good friend, Matt the Mouth, is the genius behind that enterprise. So I want to go and support Matt, who is a FOW radio alum as well as, again, a good friend who is involved in Make-A-Wish here in Georgia. And just, whenever you can give back to not just the community, but to the world in general, that is always a great thing. So follow my social media. I've been plugging this show. I've been retweeting. I've been putting posts. Even if you cannot go to the show, buy a ticket, make a donation. All the proceeds are going towards this cause. And it is so important that now more than ever, we as just human beings come together and try to make changes for the future. And that's what this is all about. So I will be there in support of that show on Friday. Saturday, she shall rest, hopefully. I want to sneak out to a show, but I'm going to be good. If I do sneak out, I'll post where I'm going. But as you guys hear my voice, it's not up to 100%, but I need my voice for Sunday. Sunday, April 29th, Landmark Arena. Again, Cornelia, Georgia. Landmark is famous as the house that AJ Styles built. Once again, AWE, Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment, will be taking over the Landmark for the Pier 6 Brawl. And I said that all kind of crazy, but y'all know what I mean. We're going to be there with the main event, I believe, is going to be for the Georgia Wrestling Crown. Chip Day will be defending his belt against a man who is a Landmark staple, a guy who has cut his teeth in that building, who has made as much history almost as AJ Styles himself in that building, that being one Slim J. Slim J has pinned Chip Day in that building. Now they're going at it for the title. So I will be there Sunday, hopefully with a better voice, calling the action alongside my tag team partner, Danny Danger. So that's my weekend coming up.
Let's see. I got a really busy weekend coming up. Saturday, I got a doubleheader. Saturday, I will be at the Con. I guess it's a comic book convention. You know I don't do those things, Mika, but I'm doing Con in Beckley, West Virginia. Show starts it's actually a tryout. It's a dual show for Superior Championship Wrestling based out of Beckley, West Virginia, and Heath Ledger's face-to-face wrestling. So Saturday they're doing an open tryout at 3 o'clock, and then the actual show starts at 4:30. After that, I have the beeline about 45 minutes down the road to WVCW, West Virginia Championship Wrestling, where it will be myself, the WVCW Heritage Champion, versus the WVCW Heavyweight Champion, Aaron Biggs. We're going to tear the house down. That's really cool. And then, like you said, Saturday, Cornelia, Georgia, the Landmark Arena, the house that AJ Styles built. I will be in the building as usual, you know what I'm saying? We'll have some brand new merch. We'll have that World Star Hip Hop Will Huckabee shirt. We'll have that for sale, so make sure everybody gets you one of those. That's about it coming up this week. You know what I'm saying? Anything else, Mika? I can't hear nothing you're saying. Thank God.
Again, I was just saying stay tuned to our social media as we'll be putting out more information. Don't forget to check out our Patreon page. I'll let you plug that. But next month, again, your girl will be going up to beautiful, glamorous New Jersey for Battle Club Pro. May the Queen reign. If you're in the New York, New Jersey, the tri-state area up there, or, if you're going to just make the drive, I suggest you come because there will be a ton of talented females wrestling their hearts out to be the one crowned the queen for this tournament. So I will be there doing commentary. My first out of state commentary gig. I'm so excited because Battle Club Pro, they put on a great show.
And they'll probably never bring you back.
Wow. Thanks for the ringing endorsement there, buddy. Remember, I am a reflection of you. So if I suck, oh shit, you suck. So I already suck. Never mind. Anyway, that's it.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, once again, this is the Wrestling Nerdcast on the Angry Marks Podcast Network. Once again, I want to thank our friends and our coworkers and everybody that's associated with Angry Marks Podcast. I want to thank our producer, CW, the man, the myth, the legend. I want to thank our sponsors, Indie Customs. Be sure to check them out on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. Say what's up to all our friends at Pro Wrestling World. And also, all of our Patreons, namely, you'll say, once again, if you like what you hear, if you love hearing me and Mika go back and forth, if you love the people that we bring on this show, a lot of our guests and stuff, be sure to show your love for this podcast by going to Patreon, patreon.com/Wrestling Nerdcast, and donate. We have a bunch of cool prizes, a bunch of cool prize packages and gifts and stuff. If you really like Mika's voice or whatever, you can donate. We actually have a little tier where you can talk professional wrestling with Mika. You can talk professional wrestling with me. You can do video chats. You can even, if your heart really wants to and you have deep enough pockets, you can produce and book your own guests that we will interview on this show and possibly be a guest co-host for this show. But you won't do that unless you go to patreon.com/Wrestling Nerdcast. Anyway, once again, on behalf of my co-host, the lover of waffles, the voice of the speech impediment, the receiver of all things unsolicited, Miss Chicago Win, one half of the world's cutest commentary team, and the voice of AWE and Lucha Atlanta, I'm talking about Miss What That Mouth Do, Mika Villas. I am your AIWF World Heavyweight Champion, your World Wrestling Grand Prix Champion, the Southern Gentleman, the Mid-Atlantic Bully, the Incredible Hulk, the International Hulk, the National Treasure, and reality show TV star, Will Huckabee, saying peace out and support indie wrestling.
Bye.
You're listening to the Angry Marks Podcast Network.